G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Arsehole? Let's go. Am I the asshole for making my sister leave my house after her joke about my son's mum leaving again? My son Jack is going to be 2 soon. His mum Annie has a complicated history and is how this all happened. Her husband passed away, and 3 months after that, we slept together. We were barely friends at the time, so I didn't know until after our first night together that she had recently become a widow. But she told me that she was really lonely and just enjoyed that physical connection. So for about 8 months, that is how it was. Didn't see each other too often. Then we found out she was pregnant. She wanted to go through with the pregnancy, and I fully supported her if that was what she wanted. The thing was, she still had a lot of grief, and when my son was born, it was hard for her to connect with him. She said she felt guilty having a baby with another man after losing her husband. By the time Jack was 4 months, she hadn't gotten any better, and her mental health completely deteriorated. I took over with him full-time after this, since she wasn't in the best place to be a mother. Annie still visited a few days out of the week for a short period, but I was doing most of the childcare while she went to therapy. Then she was in the hospital for a while. She couldn't come over much during COVID except for video chats, so she's essentially become a stranger to him. 3 months ago, she started coming around more after not seeing him for a while. She's on antidepressants, and therapy has helped her a lot. Now she's more set on being a mom, and we are slowly reintroducing him to her. My sister hasn't been happy about this. I know she's upset on my behalf as I struggled a bit as a single parent. She knows the situation that happened with her, but still thinks that she shouldn't be allowed back into Jack's life after abandoning him. And yeah, I get her feelings, but since Annie is in a better place mentally, then I want to give a shot at Jack having a mom around. I still have my guard up, obviously, and we are taking it one day at a time, but I see how different she is with him now. My sister hasn't stopped making comments no matter how many times I've told her to knock it off. She has dropped by unannounced when Annie was here and was very openly hostile right in front of Jack. Annie offered to leave, and then my sister jokes, "Make sure you come back this time." I told her to leave and not come back until she can act right with the mother of my child. My sister is offended that I'm taking her side by kicking her out of my house since she's only angry on my behalf, and it was a joke that she made. That's why she thinks I'm an asshole. For me, I was thinking I'd rather get her out ASAP before saying something else in front of my son. Was I being an asshole? Now in the comments, not the asshole. Annie is trying to be in a better place to help with your mutual child. Even if you aren't romantically together, you still should be friendly or civil to one another if you both want to be present. Your sister wanting to defend you is understandable, but this situation doesn't call for it. It is an inappropriate response to the situation. You did right by defending Annie, and should continue to do so while she's getting help. Your son is going to grow up and learn by seeing how you act towards one another. If it is with respect, then you will go a long way with teaching him how to be kind in a hard situation. Have you spoken with Annie about what your sister has been saying? It's good that you have shown her that you do not hold any grudges against her, but sometimes verbally confirming it is helpful too. Not the asshole, definitely not an asshole. It also makes it clear to her how far out of line her comments and behavior are, and that it's not about taking sides, but about her sticking her nose in and inserting herself into your personal life. Not the asshole. You are not taking Annie's side over your sister. You are taking Jack's side over your sister, and your sister needs to understand that you will do that every time. You've got this, Dad. Mum deserves a chance if she has worked and continues to work on her problems. You did the exact right thing. And now on to the update. Appreciate all the words and advice on my last post. There has been some new changes regarding the situation that happened before with my sister and Annie, so decided to leave a little update. Many of you were right about my sister's negativity possibly affecting the relationship between Annie and Jack. It's also reassuring to know that we were making the right call here. The last thing I wanted was to make Annie feel bad for things that were out of her control. At first, when I talked to my sister, we got nowhere. I even brought up what some of you said here. Would she feel the same if Annie had been in the hospital getting treatment for cancer or some other physical disease/illness? My sister claimed that's not the same thing, and we had to have a deeper conversation on why it is exactly the same thing. Annie was not in the right place mentally to be a fit parent and decided to get help. There was no need for her hostility towards Annie now that she has gotten the treatment she needs, and we are taking steps to bring her back into Jack's life. My sister and I still didn't see eye to eye, so that's when I made the decision that she wouldn't be allowed around us for a while and stuck with the same condition that I made in my original post. We didn't talk for almost 2 months, then I guess my sister finally realized I wasn't gonna budge, so she agreed she would be nicer to Annie and wouldn't talk badly about her in front of Jack. I thought this would mean that things would turn around, but unfortunately it didn't end that way. Even after giving her a second chance, she still couldn't hold back from sending a message to Annie, letting her know she's only doing this for me, but she will never be okay with her. Called her a terrible mother among other things. She was counting on Annie not to show me this, since it would, quote, cost her son his aunt, like it said in her message. Oh yeah, I was pissed. Another talk with her later, I decided she is not having any contact with us at all. As much as it pains me, I can't have that kind of negativity around my son or his mother. Their relationship has been rebuilding nicely, and this is a critical time for all of us. We don't need the extra drama. On a positive note, Jack has really warmed up to his mum, and it's a beautiful sight to see. I am happy Annie is getting somewhere with him, and they seem to be getting closer every day. So, not all bad news, right? Thanks again, Reddit, for the help. You guys really helped ease my mind with this situation. Least, don't feel like an asshole anymore for making the right choice. And now in the comments, no matter how things go with his mom, it sounds like you are putting your son's happiness and safety first. You are doing an amazing job. And OP replies, he always comes first to us, and thank you. You're a really good person for stepping up, recognizing that mental health issues and mental health care is the same as physical care, and picking your son over your sister by defending the mother of your child. I'm so sorry your sister didn't take mental health seriously, but this is a lovely update to see that Annie is getting better and is able to have a healthy relationship with Jack. I'm sure knowing that you were supporting her is incredibly helpful for both her and Jack. And OP replies, it is very unfortunate. Annie wanted to be there for our son, but she couldn't until she got the help she really needed. I don't see that any different from getting treatment for something physical that would prevent her from being around. Agree entirely. Your analogy to a physical injury/illness is spot on. Most importantly, Annie was wanting to get better and just needed support. She wasn't trying to dip out for the sake of it. How has Annie's family been on this? Have they been supportive, and is she in touch with her family from the husband who died? Are all of these people supportive? I think what you are doing is wonderful. I'm glad that she showed you that message. That could have made Annie go backwards. Glad you stood up. And OP replies, she's only in communication with her mum, who is currently in New Zealand, and has been pretty supportive of her. I've chatted with her many times, so she could meet her grandson via Zoom. I'm not sure if Annie has spoken to her late husband's family. I know they weren't happy when we found out she was pregnant, but I don't know if she's reached out yet. I'm very glad she did too. She almost didn't, but she knows we have to be completely open with each other about everything to make it work with Jack. Jack needs his mum more than he needs his aunt, especially if his aunt brings nothing but negativity to his life. You made a really wonderful point about mental illness. If Annie was getting treated for cancer or had another chronic health condition, many wouldn't bat an eye. But when it comes to mental illness, society at large is still very judgmental. Things are getting better, but given your sister's attitude, we still have a long way to go. I'm glad Annie is doing better, and her and Jack are getting closer every day. He is lucky to have such kind, loving parents who work together, and put him first. Congrats, OP. I wish the three of you all the happiness in the world. And OP replies, I'm glad that she is too. With everything that she was dealing with, it was sad to witness and not exactly know what to do. I'm happy Jack can have a healthy relationship with her now and get to know his mum. She couldn't be there to celebrate his first birthday, but she got to be present for his second that we celebrated a couple weeks ago, and he seemed happy. Our next post is titled, Am I the asshole for abandoning my parents and risking them losing the house? When I was in college, I fell in with the wrong people, became a bit of an alcoholic and got pregnant. I had to drop out of college. My daughter's father was also a college student, and I ended up going back to school and finishing up my degree. The issue was that her father got a very lucrative career path in his home state when she was 2. He didn't want to move if it meant he would lose custody, and my parents were only willing to fund my education in this particular college. We decided that all the things considered, the best thing for our child was that she be with her dad and his very supportive family. I regret that decision every day, but it was the best thing for my child. I have completed college and have been working for a year and a half. I have been paying for everything. My parents are eyeballs deep in consumer debt, and all of their income goes to servicing it and adding to it, while I pay for everything else. It is frustrating as I don't make enough to keep them happy. I wanted to move out, but I was not able to land anything worthwhile. I have been able to get a pretty decent remote role. My brother ended up moving to my ex's state, and he asked me if I wanted to move in with him. I jumped on the opportunity. I lied to my parents that I was just visiting him and flew out. I have been staying with him ever since. My parents are incredibly angry. They have accused me of abandoning them. They think they will lose the house. They want me to still help them and move back. I feel like an asshole because they have helped me. They took me in when I was someone on the edge of alcoholism, and now I am sober and a productive member of society. It could have been so much worse without their help, and I was pretty underhanded about it too. Now in the comments, not the asshole. Your parents made their choices that put themselves in debt. You don't owe it to them to financially support them for the rest of their lives and lose out on being in your son's life in the process. They are making bad decisions anyway. If they paid their mortgage, electric, and bought food, they will make it. Paying for unsecured consumer debt while letting the house get foreclosed is insane. Quote, I don't make enough to keep them happy. The kid's story is very sad, but this is the sentence that really struck me. That is not your job. Did your parents suffer some crazy financial reversal between the part where you stayed at this college because your parents would fund it and the other part where you support them? This is a sad story, but you are not the asshole. I hope you still have a connection with your kid. Not the asshole. Opie, as a parent, let me tell you what your parents should have said. I'm so proud of you. You worked hard to overcome your alcoholism. You worked hard to heal yourself. You deserve to keep moving forward. I would give every last penny, every one of my organs, the very last drop of my blood and life in my body if it meant my children could be happy, healthy, and strong. The child is not responsible for the parent. The parent is responsible for the child. Go out, be your best self, and continue to grow in your health. I'm so sorry you had to escape the way you did, but I am so glad that you are free now to pursue better things for yourself and your own child. As a parent as well, absolutely this. I can't imagine trying to hold my kid back like that after they've accomplished so much. I'm proud of you too, OP, for getting sober and finishing your degree. I hope you can be the parent for your kid that you never had. It's about your kid now, more than you, and definitely more than your parents. Your kid deserves you in their life. It is up to your parents now to figure out their own BS, and that is not on you. And now on to the update. It has been 2 months since I posted and a lot has happened. The commenters helped me a lot. I was dealing with a lot of guilt about leaving my parents and people helped me feel less like a horrible daughter. I have moved out and got a place of my own. It is only half an hour's drive from my ex's home. I get to see my daughter every week. I go over to his place every other day, and I missed her so much. Just being able to play with her tells me that I made the right decision. My parents have tried to contact me and guilt me. I did send them rent for a month, but I cut them off. The only reason I have savings is because I hid money from them. I couldn't say no to them. It was horrible. They are planning on selling the house and buying a smaller one, but they will have no savings left for retirement. My sister, who I have a really strained relationship with, called me and tried to tell me that I should at least help them out after they paid for my college. She had a specific figure which was way more than they spent. I told her they didn't pay that much for my education. She didn't believe me, but I sent her the receipts. So they had asked her for money and she had given them the money. They had told her that they needed money because they were paying for my tuition. They just inflated how much they were paying on my behalf. It's a lot. I know she hates me. We were played off against each other growing up. I can't describe how emotional it made me to realize that she still cared enough about me to help my parents. I know for a fact that she wouldn't have given them any money if they weren't helping me. It is a lot to work through. Things are pretty messed up right now, but I have a place of my own, I can see my daughter, I have a great job, and I am sober. And now in the comments, so to be perfectly clear, your parents didn't pay for your college to begin with, your sister did. Exactly, they are manipulative AF. I hope OP tries to improve her relationship with her sister after this. And I came here to suggest this. OP, you and your sister have been lied to and manipulated by your parents. Maybe spend your energy working on your relationship with her, and you two can help each other separate from your parents. Kids are supposed to leave home and start their own lives. Your parents shouldn't depend on your income. Best of luck, OP. And also, it's not your fault your parents lied to your sister and took money from her claiming to pay for your education. They decided to lie about paying for your education and needing money. They took advantage of you and your sister. What they did was horrible, but it was their choice, not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your parents chose to have you and your siblings, you have a daughter, she comes first, period. I'd be more sympathetic to your parents if it was an emergency, but according to the original post, they are consumer debt junkies who still haven't learned. Your parents should meet debt counselors and/or consider bankruptcy. They could then keep their house. Refer those resources to them and wipe your hands clean. Thank your sister for paying for your college. They kept you there so you would still live with them as a meal ticket. No other reason. Even if it meant your daughter going without her mother. That is sick. Our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for telling my fiancé if I see her friend again, I'm calling the cops?" So me and Erica dated for 2 years and have been engaged the last 4 months. After we got engaged, Erica moved into my house. I still pay the mortgage while she pays for utilities, groceries, and household items. After we get married, the plan is to put her on the house so she gets equity as well. Her friend Leah and her have been best friends since high school. I don't particularly like Leah, but have also been cordial as I know she's going to be in my life. My issue is Leah thinks of my home as hers. Here's a couple of examples. She always brings her boyfriend over, and he is a sketchball. She talks to me in a very disrespectful way in my own house, like I'm a guest and she, Erica, owns it. One day I went out to my garage and some of my tools were missing. I checked my camera, and Leah and the boyfriend were in my garage with Erica and took some tools with them. I asked Erica, and she said they were just borrowing and would return them. I had to reach out multiple times for them to finally return the tools weeks later. I have a nice wine and liquor collection, and I was working late one Friday. While working, I overheard some clanking of bottles together. Erica wasn't home, so I went out to see what was up. Leah was behind my bar, and I asked what she was doing, and she said that Erica told her that it was okay to borrow a bottle of wine for her party and that she would pay it back. I told her no, that wasn't alright, and to leave. I asked Erica about this and she said, I don't remember telling Leah that she could take a bottle, but I might have. I don't remember. I told her at this point I wasn't comfortable with Leah being in my house. Erica sort of understood, but also blew me off. Final straw came when I wanted to go hit some golf balls and my clubs were missing. I freaked out because I golf regularly and my clubs are my biggest investment. I went to check the camera again and Leah used my garage code and took the clubs. I blew up, called Erica, and told her to get them back immediately. Erica said Leah had asked for the garage code to grab some clothes from her closet and not my clubs. I threatened to call the police, but Erica stopped me. Leah kept telling us that her boyfriend needed them for a work thing. I got them back almost 4 days after they were taken, and they were dirty. At this point, I sat Erica down and told her that if I see Leah in my house again, that I'm calling the cops, no discussion. Erica got upset, saying that it's her best friend, and that wasn't fair to do to her in our own house. I said it's a pattern, and since Erica's stuff isn't affected, she doesn't care. I said she can go over to Leah's if she wants to see her. She said she can't do this because Leah doesn't like her apartment, and Leah's boyfriend is always there, which makes Erica uncomfortable. I'm now getting the silent treatment and getting called an asshole, but I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. Am I the asshole? And now in the comments, do not put this woman on the deed to your home. Hell, don't marry her. You don't have a Leah problem, you have a fiancé problem. Time to move on, buddy, not the asshole. I agree. OP, open your eyes. Agreed. Erica is allowing this to happen. There are a lot of boundary issues that show as red flags. The fact that Leah has your code and lets herself in without letting anyone know is a problem. And you can truly see that Leah does not give a single F. She got outed multiple times on camera, got caught nicking a bottle of wine, and didn't give a single crap. Leah does not respect the OP, plain and simple, and Erica is fully endorsing this behavior in their house that she does not own any part of. I'm starting to think Leah did, in fact, have Erica's permission to take that bottle. Erica just backpedaled and threw her friend under the bus when OP got upset. I wouldn't be surprised if Leah also thought that she had permission to borrow the clubs. After all, we know Erica gave her the key code and gave her permission to borrow the tools. Either way, neither of the ladies have boundaries. But this sounds like an Erica problem. Also, I would keep copies of the security footage just in case and change the garage code. And OP says, already have done these things, but thank you for the advice. I won't give Erica the new code. She has the clicker to get in and out, but I'm not comfortable giving her the code until this whole situation works itself out. If you can't trust your fiancé with your security code, you guys should see someone together before you get married and have a lot of discussions on your future and how you both see things. He should also see someone alone and be wary that couples counseling hands a lot of weapons to abusers. Wait, seriously? Could you elaborate on this? It gives the abuser the victim's language. This allows the abuser to manipulate the victim further by gaslighting them into believing they are in fact the abuser, not the victim. This can happen a lot in situations where the abuser is female and the victim is male, especially due to the fact that victims in this situation often aren't taken seriously. Basically, it can give the abuser more ideas on how to manipulate and control their partners while making it look like their victims are the ones doing the abusing. Anyway, on to the update. I want to thank you all for your kind words and comments. I knew after reading the comments that it was time to come to a resolution. I decided to drive home from work and talk with Erica. When I showed up, Leah's car was parked in the driveway. I went inside and they were watching TV. I told Leah immediately to get out. She tried to argue, but I told her that if she didn't, then I'm calling the police. Erica tried to get pissy that I kicked her friend out, but I said I'm done talking about Leah because at this point, nothing is changing with that relationship. I then sat Erica down and showed her this post. 20 minutes of reading later, I asked her what she thought, and she said, "Those people don't understand our relationship or Leah." I knew then that it was over. I asked her to hold out her hand, and I took the ring off. She begged, saying she is sorry and she'll cut Leah off, etc. I told her I can't even trust her with a garage code. How am I supposed to trust her as my wife? She's locked herself in our room now. I'm in the kitchen packing up her things. I called her dad and mum, telling them about what has happened, and they were furious. Leah is apparently banned from their house and has been since high school. I didn't know this, but her parents said that it's been like this since high school. They are coming this weekend to get Erica and the stuff. I couldn't be any happier than I am right now. A huge weight feels lifted off my shoulders. I feel like if I never made this post, I wouldn't have ever seen how messed up my life had become. Sincerely, thank you everyone. I can't wait to take my clubs out and play around now that I have more free time. Really excited to see what the single life brings, and can't thank you all enough again. And that, my dear friends, is where we end today's episode. Hope you guys are having a holly jolly Christmas, a merry, merry holidays. And without further ado, I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you are doing, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.